Are you struggling to retain clients? Is your business getting sick and tired of just watching customers walk right out of the door every single day? Well, research shows that 68% of companies will leave their provider based on one simple thing: feeling undervalued. And it is costing businesses billions of dollars every single year. In this video, we're gonna highlight the one major reason why customers leave and what you and your team can do to prevent that. Welcome back to the channel, where we help ordinary businesses turn into absolute growth machines. In today's video, we're going to be highlighting one of the major reasons why companies choose to leave their current service providers. And it might not be what you expect. So stick along while I show you how to stop the leak immediately and keep your customers around for a lot longer. So let's start off with the elephant in the room. Why do customers leave? Well, what if I told you it wasn't the price, it wasn't the product, and I know some of you might be thinking, is it the people? No, it's not even the people. It's a lack of communication. A lack of proactive and meaningful communication can leave companies feeling undervalued, neglected, and unheard. Understanding the impact of having bad communication can go a long way in helping your future self and future business prevent customers from leaving and set up strategies and processes in place to prevent that from ever happening. In this video, we're going to cover several different strategies that you can use and implement starting right now to improve your communication with clients and prevent them from leaving your business for one of your competitors. Things such as communication calendars, having personalized messages, having proactive outreach. Those are the three things that are going to make all the difference for your business and hopefully prevent another customer from leaving, and in turn create processes and strategies that you can lean on so that when you have new hires and when your company expands, those processes can grow alongside you. Understanding the impact of this is huge. Let me paint a picture for you. Let's say you're a brand new company. You just signed up for a telecommunications provider because you need phones in your office. And imagine you pay the first bill and you're told you're going to be going through onboarding and you're going to get a CSM or an account manager after the onboarding experience. Now picture this, 2 weeks goes by, no phone call, no proactive email, no onboarding outreach, nothing, crickets. Yeah, that's the reality for a lot of companies in this day and age. If you're not the one that's being proactive, you can't assume a company's going to do it for you. So the way to set yourself apart is, first and foremost, understanding what do customers want and why do customers leave? Well, we know customers leave because they feel unheard and neglected. Their business needs are not being met. So using that to your advantage can be a huge benefit to your organization and pay dividends down the road. So check this out. Research shows that about 90% of American businesses say that there's one deciding factor when they look for new providers, and that's customer service. And then research shows that about 60% of those businesses will switch from their current providers based on one simple factor: customer service. So when you think of both of those statistics, customer service is the main theme there. We're talking about communication, problem solving, proactive outreach, you name it, customer service. Any interaction you're having with your client, whether it be tangible, handing them something, or whether it's intangible, being an experience that they have around your service or around your product, those are both customer service related. By not making customer service and communication a focal point of your business, you could potentially be losing tens of millions of dollars every single year. The opportunity cost to not provide that kind of white glove service, it's just not acceptable. In this day and age, the way service businesses and productized services get ahead is by going that extra mile. And what I mean by that is proactive outreach, being there for your customer, getting to know your customer, being able to personalize all the communication that your customer receives. Customer service isn't your end all be all, and neither is communication. But the opportunity cost of not providing white glove service and going above and beyond for your clients is tremendous. In this day and age, you have to be willing to set yourself apart and to get to know your customer better than your competitors do. I promise, if you're not going that extra mile to learn everything you can about your client and for them to feel heard and make them feel like they're a valuable asset to your organization, that client is going to start looking for other avenues and mediums to feel that way. A product and a service is going to be very similar across the board. Whether you go from, let's say, a HubSpot to a Salesforce, they are both CRMs at the end of the day, but the service they could provide could be night and day different. So when you're not going that extra mile for your customer, providing that white glove service, whether that means hand holding or that means proactively being there once a week to check in on them and be a strategic partner for their organization, somebody else might. So you have to go that extra step. And what that leads me into is actionable steps that you can implement today. And I'm going to kick this off with one of my favorite. And this changed the game when I was an AM and working with clients. It's a communication calendar. It's something that you proactively set up in your free time. And that's based off of some of the legwork that you have to do earlier. I'm going to link another video down below here based on understanding your customer and building lasting relationships. In the understanding your customer portion of that video, one of the things I highlight is getting to know how they like to work. What are their expectations? What are their communication preferences? And what cadence do they like to be communicated in? So tying that piece into what we're about to go over is crucial, because being able to set up a communication calendar for your clients, whether you have 20 major enterprise clients that you work with, or you have 500 customers that are spread out among several different agents, the concept is the same. Understanding your customer, figuring out how they communicate and at what cadence allows for agents or yourself to be able to create a calendar Monday through Sunday that outlines which customers you speak to on which days, what type of communication method you reach out to them on, whether they want to be reached out on email, a phone call, they want to get a text, or they want to have a video chat. Doesn't matter. The better you get to know your customer, the more info you put into that communication calendar that's going to help you out. Then when you come in the mornings, you reference that calendar and you see, all right, I have 4 calls today, these 4 clients, and then you can pick out what topics do I want to cover with them. Is it a simple check-in call? Am I going all the way and trying to figure out, oh, is there a product that I might be able to offer them on this call? Maybe you're referencing their recent support tickets and you're seeing that they're calling in with the same issue over and over. Maybe you proactively reach out to one of the agents that worked on those tickets and try getting some tips or some helps on what that client could do differently to prevent that from happening in the future. There's so many things that a communication calendar can benefit your company on. And one of the things is just being in front of your client's face, whether that's virtually or in person. Constantly having the email threads and phone calls and video chats is going to go a long way in making sure that your customer is not feeling neglected, making sure that they are being heard, and at the end of the day, you want them to feel valuable. And I promise you, by communicating with them regularly and by checking in on a regular cadence, they're going to feel important and they're going to feel heard. Step 2, strategy 2. Personalize your communication so that they feel important. As I mentioned, I posted a video not too long ago where I really highlighted all the steps of building a lasting relationship. One of the things that I mentioned was personalizing your communication. There's nothing more important than being able to build trust with a customer and communicating with them in a way that's not generic. There's nothing worse than when you spend an hour talking to somebody, or let's say even a week working with an onboarding agent, to then just get an email that's a regular template that they send to everybody. I don't know about you, but a little personalization goes a very long way. I think back to every time I've done business with someone and they send me a thank you card, or they send me a note in the mail, or they reach out via phone call and thank me for my time, my business. Whether it worked out or whether it didn't does not matter, but that extra step goes a long way. So being able to understand your customer, having that communication calendar so that you have a set cadence of calls, emails, whatever the case is, to better know your customer is going to help here. So instead of always sending out generic emails, now we're going to go that extra step and personalize those emails. So as I mentioned, we're done doing generic emails. Now we're working on personalized messages to our clients. And one of the things that you can do to make it a little bit easier in the beginning, because if you're switching from always using scripts or templates, and then your company is now telling your agents that they need to go and start creating personalized messages and get creative with what they're sending, one of the easiest ways to do that is reference previous conversations you've had with the customer. Sometimes they'll let things slip out. Whether it's a good conversation or a bad one, you're going to learn insights about your client. So sometimes having a CRM in place, like I mentioned earlier, HubSpot, Salesforce, Zendesk, you name it, somewhere where you can house all those notes about your client is going to go a long way. So when it comes to personalizing, start having your agents take notes. As of this moment, the next call that they have with a client, have them start creating folders. If you're a little bit more advanced, or if your service business is a little, tenured, maybe you already have a CRM software in place. Let's add some features like a client sentiment score, a notes section, a personalized section. Let's go a little bit further so that way we're giving those agents tools to be successful. And when they learn another caveat or another tidbit about their customer, they know exactly where to go to put it. So then later on, others in your organization can also reference that. Think about it almost as like a secret file on your client. If they saw it, they're not going to get mad about it, but it's going to help you cater to them a lot better and create all that personalization that we keep driving home in this video. In every video I do, I like to take some time to thank the viewers, you, for sticking around for as long as you do. My goal with this channel is to help ordinary businesses turn into growth machines and client magnets. I have a passion for helping others really when it comes to driving revenue growth, reducing customer churn, and building lasting relationships with their clientele. If you wouldn't mind, drop a like, share the video, subscribe, and leave a comment. What do you want to see in future videos? I think that's super helpful. There's a lot of topics that I know others might have questions on, and there's a lot of information that I'd like to share. So do me a favor, drop some comments below of other video topics that you would like to see or other ideas that you might want me to expand on. So once again, thank you from the bottom of my heart. I greatly appreciate you taking the time to watch the video for this long. Before I waste any more of your time, let's go. And then that leads me into number 3, creating some kind of feedback loop with your customers. What I've done and what I've seen work really well is creating some kind of cadence on a biannual or annual basis where you can group clients together with different divisions in your organization to just strategize and gather feedback. Another way to do that is through something such as NPS surveys, Net Promoter Score surveys. Sending one of those out every quarter, every 6 months, or every year can give you a lot of insights into your client's mind and how they're thinking about their experience with your organization. So when you're doing those client feedback loops, those could be as simple as setting up a call with one customer and a couple members from different departments and saying, I would like to set up an hour to communicate with you and go over any kind of issues, feedback, things that you would like to see improve, things that you would like to see changed. This is like an open forum to communicate between the client, yourself, and agents within your organization. The goal here is to take in all the information that the client's sharing with you, good and bad, and then pull that together. So after you do several sessions with several of your larger customers, you pull all the answers together, good, bad, and medium, and middle of the road, I should say. So then once you pull all the bad feedback into one bucket, you start looking at it, start seeing if there's any kind of trends there. I'm sure you're going to start finding trends. 9 out of 10 times, there's going to be several of them. That's what you're hoping for. Once you can pick out trends, that's when you can start looking at them on a grander scheme and prioritizing which ones will have the biggest impact for your client's experience and which ones might have the best bang for your buck and turn the most profit for you. So being able to have feedback loops with your clients is critical. It doesn't have to be something you're doing every single week, but once a quarter, every 6 months, once a year. That's more than enough for your client to feel heard, for your client to be able to vocalize thoughts that they might be having, and for them to even feel important. Imagine you have a point of contact that's an admin within a 10,000 person organization. But let's say they have 500 people that utilize the platform that you service them for. That individual might have to go around and gather feedback or create a poll amongst all the other admins in their organization. They might feel more important or in charge. You're putting them in a place on a pedestal to allow them to really shine. So imagine when you get them into a call with several members of your organization, not only are you showing them that they're an important customer, that you're taking time, resources to meet with them, but you also care about what they have to say. That goes an extremely long way. And now, if we switch over to the NPS survey side, this is a little bit easier and it's a little bit less legwork for your team on the forefront. So with an NPS survey, NPS stands for Net Promoter Score. What it is a survey that you can send out, same with the feedback loops, either it's monthly, quarterly, biannually, annually. I typically recommend quarterly or biannually. You don't want to overload customers with too many surveys because you're just going to annoy them. But then you don't want to do it so infrequently that the data you get is hard to interpret and understand. So if you have a cadence of, let's say, every 3 months, every 4 months, even every 6 months of sending out a survey to get their feedback and get their insights into what they think about the experience, the product, the service, enhancements that could be made, changes that could be implemented, and then just an overall comment section of what are your thoughts? Do you want us to call you? Do you want us to work with you on improving the system? You'll notice some customers want to work hand in hand with their providers so that they can get the best tool possible for their teams. On the flip side, you'll have other customers that don't want to have interaction. So it's a very fine line, but by doing the proactive outreach, by understanding your customer and by creating these surveys, you're able to better understand those customers and really get a grasp of how they operate and then cater to them based off of those insights that you gain through your surveys and feedback loops. In this video, we've already covered 3 actionable steps to prevent customers from leaving your business. The 4th one is going to be a fun one. It's implementing technology and utilizing technology to your advantage. And what I'm talking about is your CRM tools. I'm talking about your automated reminders, using AI such as chatbots. Those are the types of items that are going to give you a competitive advantage amongst your competition and potentially make that client experience that much better. So when we talk about CRM tools, earlier in this video, I mentioned things such as Zendesk, Monday.com, HubSpot, Salesforce, you name it. There's 1,000,001 different CRM platforms on the market. And for those of you that don't know what CRM stands for, all it is a customer relationship management software. So with so many of these being out on the market, there's a lot of competition. Each provider is having to come up with better and better feature sets to provide to customers. So within your CRM tools, you'd be shocked to find some of the things that they offer. There's ways to keep notes. There's ways to integrate with your Outlook and your Gmail accounts. They have ways to integrate with your phone systems, whether you have Vonage or one of the big VoIP providers. CRM platforms are constantly evolving and getting more advanced, and you should be using those tools to your advantage. If you have a note section, maybe you should be putting a reminder in there so that you're reaching out to a customer every 2 weeks. If you just finished talking with them, maybe you have a flag that pops up that says you need to reach out to them on this day. This ties into our communication calendar we mentioned earlier. Sometimes you can build that within your CRM tools. That's a 2-in-1 kill in my opinion. So if I can create a communication calendar and utilize a software tool that others in my organization can reference, that's going to be better. That's going to give the executives the visibility that they need, but it's also going to provide visibility to every other department that might interact with that customer. So from a high level point of view, if I'm looking at what technology I need to implement within my organization, one of the first things I'd be looking at is a CRM tool. There's 1,000,001 CRM tools out there. I don't have any recommendations for you since I'm not an affiliate for any, but with a quick Google search, I'm sure you'll be able to align yourself with a platform that meets your needs. The second item would be using an AI chatbot. Something where if a customer reaches out with questions, maybe they just went on your website because they heard or saw a commercial with your company name reference. Maybe they're interested in the services you have and they would like to schedule a demo. Maybe they would like to schedule a call to learn more. Well, having a chatbot on your website could be a simple resource that they can utilize to schedule those calls. There's a lot of websites out there that allow for booking, and what you can do is tie in one of those booking sites onto your AI chatbot so that when a customer goes on, they're presented options such as book a demo, schedule a call, get more information. And then from there, that chatbot can either present them a calendar that they could book time on to speak with a sales representative. Maybe if they're just needing more information, it automatically pulls from your customer support page or your FAQ page and references that information that they're looking for. Or maybe you have some brochures or training videos or just videos overall on the platform that you can send to them. Anything that you can do proactively that doesn't require a lot of extra hand holding or involvement from a human being can go a long way and cut down on costs significantly. Where you're saving over here, that money can be used elsewhere, such as marketing, research and development, more proactive research, or even hiring more people so that you have less customers for each agent. So that way they're spending more time with one customer than if they were to go through and have to call 100 customers rather than 50. So I think it's super important to tie this all home. And I was spending some time thinking today, what was an example that I could think of within my personal life and very early on within my career where, communication and a lack of it really made a difference. And I thought back to a time when I worked for a telecommunications provider. We were in the VoIP space and I worked as a customer service manager or a customer success manager. One of the things that we had to do constantly was deal with escalated clients. And one of the things that I was actually really good at and that ended up being one of my strengths was working with those escalated clients. If a customer was having problems, they weren't getting the resolutions they were needing or threatening to cancel, those are the customers that I did really well with. And I don't know if that's necessarily because I liked working with them, but I had a couple of strengths that really helped in those situations, such as being an active listener, listening to listen, but not to speak. And then also to hopefully find a resolution for those customers, because at the end of the day, I looked at any business I worked for like my own company. If I was able to retain a customer and I didn't lose them, then that meant I was keeping a customer for my business. Now, as time has changed, that's more true than ever. But going back to that time, when I was working with escalated customers, I had one that was a very large organization. I don't want to say a specific name, but a Fortune 1000 company. And one of the complaints that they had for several weeks, and you could see that they weren't lying because when I referenced the support history, all the chat tickets, the reach outs from the customer to us, they were significant and they went back weeks. But on our side, we didn't have agents responding to them in a timely manner. When the customer would ask a question, he would get some kind of generic response that didn't answer the question. And sometimes, to be honest, it wasn't even related to the topic that he was asking about. So it had gotten to the point after a month of this client going back and forth with our teams, not getting the responses he was hoping for, and not even getting responses in a timely manner. He decided that he was out of a contract. It was time for him to leave. And my job at that point, I don't want to lose any customers. So I went into proactive mode. I made it my mission to work with that client day in, day out until all the issues and problems that they had were resolved and their experience was turned around. This wasn't a quick process. I'm talking about several months of talking to the client on a weekly basis, going from, constantly working on issues, troubleshooting, connecting to different departments, going in and submitting tickets for the client on their behalf so that they weren't wasting time doing it. I spent a lot of time doing that. And over the course of several months, our conversations went from being, problem, to being solution, to then being conversational. So let me just repeat that. We went from talking about problems nonstop to slowly moving into solutions. And then from solutions, when we didn't have any more problems to talk about, we just started having conversations about their business, about why they chose our service, what they're hoping to do within the next year. It gave me insights that I would have never gathered from this client when I first received them. So a little thing like this, such as going that extra step, can go a very long way. My success story is not different than anybody else's. There's thousands of these success stories on a daily basis. If you were to go interview several individuals within your organization, I guarantee several of them have similar stories just like that, probably from today or yesterday. It's a very common theme. But what you need to do as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, as an executive, is you need to set up processes in place to avoid this from happening. You can't have customers that are frustrated reaching out and not getting responses in a timely manner. You can't have customers that are frustrated and upset reaching out and getting answers for topics and questions that they didn't even ask about. There's nothing worse and makes a customer feel more undervalued than blowing them off, or even worse, listening to them and then giving them completely BS information. So by doing the 4 steps that I provided, and then by actually identifying the reason why customers leave in the first place and taking a 10,000 foot overview of your company, that's going to help you narrow down the simple things that you can change, then that you can implement to stop customers from leaving and to help you retain more business at the end of the day. Because it's very hard to win new business. It's a lot easier to keep business that you've already won. I'm going to repeat that one more time. It's very hard to win new business, but it's very easy to keep business that you've already won. Keep that in the back of your mind next time you're dealing with an escalated client, or you have clients that are complaining to managers within your organization about poor communication or a lack of customer service. Do everything you can once you have the customer. Don't do it when it's too late. Set up proactive strategies and processes so that your agents and your teams can be prepared and can go that extra mile to make the customer feel heard and make sure that they actually feel appreciated and want to do business with you and are not going to spend the time looking elsewhere for somebody that might do something that you should already have been doing.